To disassemble the trigger mechanism housing, you grasp the trigger bar and put some forward pressure while rotating. That'll come right out of there. And pay careful attention to the direction of the trigger spring. Notice that the open end is facing forward when it's in the upright position. The open end is forward. And that's how it has to go back together. This is a part that if there's any part on a Glock that will break, it's that one. I've already broke one on my Glock 19, which was a police trade-in gun. That's a good idea to have a spare. You can still fire the gun, but you have to reset the trigger manually each time. Then you remove the connector by pushing on the back side with your tool. The connectors are marked in this location right here. You can see this one has a minus sign on it, which means it's a 3.5 pound connector. A normal one will have no marking, and an 8 pound connector will have a plus sign right there. To complete our detailed strip of the receiver, all we have to do now is to remove the slide lock and the magazine release or magazine catch. Press down as far as possible on the slide lock spring, which is right down in there. You'll press on this part, hold the receiver on its side, and when you press, give it a little bump, slide lock comes right out the side. To remove the slide lock spring, grab it with the needle nose and lift it straight out of the receiver. Removing the magazine catch is not difficult. You just have to know what's going on in there, and it takes a little bit of practice. Place your left finger on the right hand side of the receiver over the magazine catch just to keep it in place while you're working. And you can see the magazine catch in there. I'll illuminate it with my light here through the mag well. You can see that straight piece of spring steel and how it works. When you press the button, it pushes back to the left, holding the catch against the magazine. And now what you're going to do is you're going to take the screwdriver, you're going to hook that piece of spring steel, push it, holding on the left side here, move it away from you and out, and it'll come. Now you can take the catch out, and you can see right here that's the notch that it goes into. You remove the spring with your needle nose pliers, pull it straight out. This is what it looks like when it's assembled, and the spring just keeps tension on the magazine catch. That's the button in that you push to release the mag. At this point, your Glock receiver is stripped down to its bare polymer frame, and the only metal parts on it are the slide rails and the serial number plate. And now we'll reassemble it. This view is looking from the top of the receiver down through the magazine well, and the magazine catch spring has to go back down into that hole right there, and you use your needle nose pliers to do that. First, put the slide stop in from the right hand side of the receiver, hold it in place, then you can take your slide stop spring, grab it with the needle nose, and put it down in that hole. Push it with the tip all the way down until it seats. Then you can use your screwdriver. I guess this is the part that takes practice. And you want to, maybe you can see this happen. Just move that over. Push over and forward until it clicks right into that slot in the magazine catch. And you can see that's working properly. The slide lock spring goes in as shown here, with the humped portion on the top, the straight portion going down into the receiver like this. I like to hold this with the needle nose pliers, and you just set it right in there like that and carefully push it down and seat it with your punch just so you know that it's bottomed out. Your slide lock has a groove on one side that engages the barrel lug, and it's very important that that groove is facing rearward when you install it. Use your punch to press down on the slide lock spring while you insert the slide lock from the side, the notch facing rearward. Until it's held in place. Now we'll reassemble the trigger mechanism housing. First, put the connector back in. Then, with the opening of the spring facing what would be the front of the gun, take the trigger bar, capture the spring, rotate the spring like that, and now you give it a twist and put it in place. Now this is ready to go into the receiver. This very simply slides in from the top. You line the trigger, then the trigger mechanism housing. Gently push that down. Now go ahead and take your shortest plastic pin, put that in the receiver and center it with your punch. Friction holds it in. Next, the locking block will go in as shown here from the top. Then what you want to do is take the larger diameter pin that has the grooves on from the right hand side again, put it in so it goes through the trigger, and when you see it emerge right there, pull back just a little bit, because you have to put your slide stop with the spring in that slot, and then push from behind so that you locate that pin right in the center of the slide stop. You wiggle that back and forth just like you did when you disassemble it, and with finger pressure you can get that almost all the way in. Finish seating it with your punch until you feel it stop, and now if you push from either side it should be locked into place, because the spring on the slide stop lives in a little groove on the trigger pin. Now we simply insert our barrel, our recoil spring assembly, and put the slide back on the receiver. And we're back in action. I appreciate you watching my video. I hope it helped out. And if you have any comments for me, suggestions or questions, leave them in the comments box. Thank you very much.